We've been putting words on the page since Gutenberg introduced movable type, and Photoshop lets us do some amazing things with a minimum of fuss. Let's get started. Although best known as a tool for editing images, Photoshop lets you do a lot of creative things with type. Let's take a look at some of the basic options for adding words to a document. We're going to begin in our Chapter 7 folder, and we'll select the file New Type. Now, if you get a warning message when you open this file asking you to update layers, you can simply hit the Update button. This file was created on a PC, and moving from Mac to PC with a lot of typefaces can sometimes be a little tricky, but if you simply hit Update, you'll be fine. Now, in order to start typing, you have to select the Type tool. That's located in the Tools panel, and its icon is the letter T. That is also the shortcut you use to select this tool. If I click and hold on the icon, you can see that we have 4 separate tools available here. A horizontal type tool, vertical, and then we have 2 mask tools. We're going to talk about the mask tools towards the end of this lesson, but for now we're going to start with the horizontal type tool. With the type tool selected, I want to point out a couple of features in the options bar. Here, we can choose the typeface that we're using. If you click on the pull-down triangle, you have a listing of all the active fonts in your computer. Next to that, we can choose our font style. Here, we can choose between italic, bold, or even bold italic. This is where we choose our type size. Right now, we're set to 12 points. I'm going to increase this so that as I start typing, you can actually see it on screen. To the right of that, we have our anti-alias options. Right now, we're going to leave it at its default setting of sharp. Now, the easiest way to add type is simply to click and start typing. When you finish typing and are ready to commit, you can move to the options bar and click on this checkmark icon to commit. The keyboard shortcut for that is simply to press the Enter key. As soon as you click with the type tool, Photoshop automatically creates a brand new layer. In our Layers panel, you can see at the very top a new layer. There is a T in the middle of that layer icon, and that signifies a type layer. Photoshop automatically names this layer based on the words you type. Because the type exists on a completely separate layer, we're free to move it around. Simply bring your mouse over the type, hold down the Command key on the Mac, Control key on the PC. You can see the cursor change to an arrow, and we can simply move that type around. If you need to edit your type, simply click inside the type. We've got our blinking cursor, and now we're free to add or edit that type any way we want. I'm going to hit the Enter key on the numeric keypad to commit to that change. If we want to change the type size, we can simply go up to the options bar, and instead of 60, I'll choose 48, make it a bit smaller. Another way to change the type size is to take your mouse, click on the type, again hold down the Command key on the Mac, Control key on the PC. You'll see we have a bounding box. We'll move to this upper right corner. I'll start to drag, and as I drag, I'll hold down the Shift key. What that's going to do is automatically scale the type up or down as I drag to make the box bigger or smaller. I'm again going to hit the Enter key to commit. Here's a great way to cycle between different typefaces. With our layer selected, you can see in the Layers panel that Photoshop CS5 is highlighted in blue. I'm going to click in the Font menu box. Verdana is now highlighted. I'm going to use the up and down arrow keys on the keyboard to cycle through some of the fonts loaded on my system. This is the Verdana typeface. We'll go to Trebuchet, Trajan Pro, and you can see that you can quickly preview what different fonts will look like. We can easily delete a type layer in Photoshop. I'm going to move over to the Layers panel. We can see that our Photoshop CS5 type layer is active. It's highlighted in blue. And I'll move down to the trash can icon and simply press it. And there we go, no more type layer. If we want to add a block of type instead of just a few words, that's easy to do as well. In the document window, with the type tool, we are simply going to click and drag. And you can see we now have the outlines of a text box. Whatever type we enter will remain inside the constraints of this box. I'm going to cancel this. We'll move up to the options bar and click the cancel button. The keyboard shortcut for this is Command period on the Mac, Control period on the PC, because I have already created a text box. In the Layers panel, I'm going to turn on the visibility of this type layer called Alice. If I click, you can now see the boundaries of our text box. I'm going to reduce the size of this text. First, I'll press the Enter key to commit, then move up in the Options bar and select a much smaller type size. There we go. Now we can see all of our type inside that box. Again, if I click inside the box, we can see the boundaries, and we can freely change the shape of this box. If I hold the mouse over this middle box, I can drag it out. The type will automatically reflow around the boundaries of the box. If I go to the upper right corner, hold down the Command key on the Mac, Control key on the PC, click and drag while holding the Shift key at the same time. Again, I can reduce the size of the type. It will get smaller. If I drag this back up, it will get bigger. I'm going to hit the Enter key again to commit. The last thing I want to do here is create a type mask. I'm going to go over to the Tools panel, click and hold on the Type tool, and select Horizontal Type Mask tool. Now to make the mask, I want the point size to be much higher than it is now, but the first thing I need to do is take the focus off of this existing type layer. I'm simply going to go to the Layers panel and click the background to make it active. Now I'm going to change the type size. I'm going to go all the way up to 72. Our Horizontal Type Mask tool is selected, and I'm simply going to click and start typing. I'll press the Enter key to commit. Now, instead of type, we simply have outlines waiting to be filled. Let's go up to the Edit menu, select Fill, and I'm going to use a pattern. Any pattern will do. I'm choosing one of the default patterns that ships with Photoshop, and I'll simply press OK. I'll hide the marching ants by pressing the keyboard shortcut Command H on the Mac, Control H on the PC. Now we can see that our selection has been filled with that pattern that we chose. The big difference between the Type Mask tool and the other tool we've been using is that Type Mask is applied directly onto a layer. We have not created a new type layer. This is now a part of the background layer. In our very next lesson, we're going to use this same file, so I'd like for you to keep it open.